Ah yes, the Marine mods, or as they're known in the Baps household, the Unlimited Torture Glitch. These mods have brought me joy, pain, and enough stress to last me for years to come. From drearys' legendary Combat Evolved infantry mod, to Siegebreaker's yet another Marine, every single one of them has a special place in my heart. And by special, I mean somewhere between a Rage Quit folder and a trauma playlist. But today, in my daily dose of self-inflicted pain, we're going back to the one that started it all, drearys' Marine mods. Why? Because apparently I hate myself, and because I promised myself that I'll finally finish the Spec Ops missions. Who can say? Now, for those of you who don't know, Infantry Spec Ops isn't your standard Halo campaign. They are in fact bonus missions that Dreary created for the end of his campaign mods. And basically, Dreary cranked up the difficulty to unfair on these bonus missions. They stretch all the way from Halo Reach to Halo 3, and they are not just tough. Oh no, these missions have a talent for creating mental breakdowns. But at the end of the day, that's why I also love these types of mods. They're unpredictable, they're punishing, they're the type of challenge that makes me want to cry and wonder why I didn't just play something chill like The Sims. But yet, here we are. So today's goal is simple, on paper, but brutal in practice. Complete dreary Spec Ops missions, without completely losing my sanity. Our first mission on this insanity simulator is Rescue, with the objective to save a bunch of trapped Marines from the Covenant. Also, fun fact, this is actually a Reach remake of the very first Spec Ops mission in Combat Evolved, so just a nice little treat there. We join the main man himself, Dave the Marine, and his squad of Marines. And yes, before you comment, Dave died back in Halo Combat Evolved on Mission 2, but don't you worry. This lore is basically held together with duct tape at this point, as his squad dragged his body back to Alpha Base, slapped some spare parts on him, and was able to rebuild Dave stronger, faster, and possibly still terrible at aiming. Now, with that lore shoveled into your brains, Dave and his squad pushed forward to the first encounter. Crossing this bridge was in fact not bad itself, it was when we got to the other side, that's where the nightmare truly starts. As we are forced into the open with next to no cover, swarmed by the local troglodytes, and within minutes, my health is in the gutter and Dave's squad is wiped out. It was also around this point that I started to get surrounded, but hey, I'm basically a veteran Marine at this point, so I kept my cool and claimed the high ground. For the next few minutes, I just sniped everything below until I was sure that it was safe to move up, and then I stole the Halo 1 pistol for bonus points before we moved inside.
Come get some.
Where I'm instantly greeted by King Kong, but with the God pistol in hand and him getting stuck on this corner, we were able to instantly put him down and rejoin the Marines inside. Now this is where the fun begins, as we are now tasked with holding our position in this joyful holdout section. It seems even in modded campaigns, the holdout sections continue to haunt me. Now this holdout section wasn't exactly challenging, to say the least. I basically just hid at the back while the Marines basically did all the work. But even after getting my human rates violated in this part more times than I like to admit, I couldn't help but wonder, how the hell did so many Covenant fit in this tiny room? But we got no time to worry about that, as we head outside and are greeted by more Marines and a Warthog, as we are tasked with clearing out the Covenant relay outpost. Now, as much as I love playing as a Marine, it seems my monkey brain keeps forgetting how weak both you and the Warthogs are on Legendary, as we instantly got shredded apart faster than cheap toilet paper.
I'm dying. Help me.
I wish I could say that clearing out this Covenant outpost was easy, but sadly it took me over 40 minutes to clear this area of Covenant. I'm not sure if I forgot how unforgiving Reach can be, or I'm just trash. But let's not talk about how many times I ended up dying in this section alone. But after 40 minutes of bashing my head against the wall, a Pelican drops off my Amazon Prime order of a Gauss Hog, in order to destroy the Wraiths that are being dropped off. And this time, it went a lot smoother, as I was able to take them out in less than 4 minutes. Not bad really after that hell I just went through. I kinda deserve an easy win. And that's just mission 1. God knows what fresh insanity is waiting for me in the next one. Our next mission takes us back to Combat Evolved. Now, I've not really played Halo 1 as a Marine since I finished the game, so I knew this was going to be fun. This time, we're not Dave the Marine, we're stepping back into the boots of Jimbo the ODST, because apparently, I can't help myself from resurrecting these characters. Anyway, Jimbo is tasked with taking out the Covenant artillery around the bridge, so we get dropped off above the bridge to take out a bunch of Covenant first. Now, just a quick side note, I just want to say that this battle rifle absolutely fucks. It fires single shot and just shreds anything in its way. I had no idea why this wasn't in Halo 1 to begin with, but I'm glad that modders are able to bring it into the game. Not long after clearing up this area, we instantly get our cheeks slapped by this golden boy. But after respawning, this blinged out elite didn't stand a chance this time, and we're able to get picked up by a pelican only to get dropped off on the other side of the bridge to help out more ODSTs clear out some more Covenant. Now this side of the bridge was way tougher than the other side, mainly due to my lack of ammo and more elites than I'd like to count. Plus I didn't have nearly enough sanity to deal with this. But after hiding behind a shield like a little bitch, it didn't take long for Jimbo to get destroyed by the rapid firing turkey goblins. However, after dying in this section to a fuel rod more times than I like to admit, it didn't take us long to eventually clear out this section and get picked up by the Pelican Taxi Service, only to get dropped off on the bridge itself. Now, for some reason, my monkey brain thought that the best strategy for taking on this part was to jump into the hog and try and run everything down. Spoiler alert, that did not work. Now, I don't know if it's because I'm possibly insane, but I just kept trying the same thing over and over again with no results. But after 20 minutes of slowly moving the hog around and jumping into the turret myself, we were eventually able to clear out this bridge of troglodytes and move inside this door, where a swordly and a pair of hunters were waiting for us. Amazing. But after putting these nerds down, we joined some more marines to mop up the remaining Covenant hiding underneath the bridge. Now yes, that sounds easy, but it was not, as the Covenant have these things, and I don't know what they're called, and these giant creatures that made my life miserable.
What is that? What the fuck is that?
Let's just say it took me a further 15 minutes to clear out under the bridge, as I kept forgetting how weak the CE Marines are in this mod. How I was able to beat this game on Legendary, I don't know. But after all that chaos, the bridge was finally clear. Jimbo had survived another mission. Now I need to go and rethink my life choices about playing this game. This next mission has Jimbo all alone after a drop had gone horribly wrong, but he still had a mission to do, and that was to eliminate 3 elite commanders around this island. Now as soon as we take control, we spot some Covenant nearby and attempt to deal with them, and in less than 10 seconds, Jimbo collapses into the ground harder than I do on a drunken night out. Attempt number 2 goes a lot smoother, and we end up at the first location of one of the elite commanders. Now, being a lone ODST, I had to think carefully about my strategies here, so I did the only thing that I could think of, and that was to hide behind this tree throwing grenades, instantly alerting the whole base to my location. But somehow I managed to steal a ghost, and this thing became vital for surviving this mission. At least until it looked like it had been through a blender. Now, with my ghost not in the best condition, I duck into a nearby building to loot some fallen ODSTs, only to immediately get done in by this grunt. Beautiful. One annoying thing about this mission is that it only gives you a checkpoint after you take out a Covenant squad, so I got sent right back to where I took out the first patrol on the beach. Dreary really wanted us to suffer on this. Not learning from my mistakes, I did the exact same thing again. This time, I used the ghost to block the elites from getting to me inside the building, and we were able to take out the first commander. 1 down, 2 to go. As we make our way through some caves near the base, we end up on top of the island where Jimbo found himself a sniper. We managed to spot the second base below and take out some turret guys like it's shooting practice. But with not being able to snipe the golden boy at the second building, we end up moving to the center of the island where I spot golden boy number 2. A few sniper rounds to the face later, and he's down. Good thing too, as I just run out of ammo. With one more pimped out elite left to deal with, we head back through the caves and grab our poor, half-dead ghost. This thing was one sneeze away from exploding, but that didn't stop me from using it as cover. Along the way, we deal with some more nerds on the way to our main target, and manage to find ourselves a warthog, and we use that to get to the final area, even though that plan did have its flaws.
Be advised, your teammate got their ass kicked.
Roughly 10 minutes later, and we were back. This time I used my single brain cell, and we used the turret to clear out any knuckleheads before moving up to deal with the commander, who I just ended up noob comboing into the dirt. Look, by this point I've been stuck on this island for about an hour. I earned that easy kill. With the final commander now dealt with, we get a call from Echo 419 that she is approaching the extraction point. So we jump back into our hog and make our way towards the extraction. Only when we get there, all the ODSTs have already been wiped out. So we just used the Warthog for cover, and Jimbo was able to clear the extraction zone and board Echo 419, bringing this mission to a close. Thank God. Our next mission has us return as Dave the Marine, as he and his team are tasked with clearing out the Covenant within these canyons, and we start off things strong by instantly blowing up a bunch of grunts and jackals. Very nice. As we pass a Captain Keyes landing, we come across a hairy Neanderthal, who are instantly stuck with a glowing blue ball. Now I don't know about you, but it always impresses me when modders are able to add brute AI to Halo 1. I don't know, it just feels like a nice touch to the game. Anyway, moving slightly along, Dave was able to clear out some more Covenant before moving further into the canyon. Now I won't lie to you, this crossroad within the canyon wasn't that hard to deal with. In fact, the only real challenge came when I shot myself with a grenade launcher. Apparently that move was so shocking, even the brutes decided they wanted nothing to do with Dave and just ran away. But our boy Dave wasn't one to back down from a fight, so we chased them down and promptly grenaded myself once again. At this point, I think I should just be banned from using explosive weapons. But anyway, after dealing with these pillocks in the canyon, we came up to a second Marine base that had been taken over by the Covenant. So we introduced them to Mr. Sniper. Now, I should have known better at this point to think that the area was clear, but my little brain thought it would be a good idea to head up the tower, and we instantly turned into a kebab by this honor guard's glowing thing. Many deaths and one burst blood vessel later, we were eventually able to snipe all the honor guards camping on the tower and claim victory for ourselves. Dave won, honor guards several. After stealing the dead Marines' wallets and ammo, we stole their nearby Warthog and immediately drive straight into an ongoing firefight. But because I'm mentally ill or something, I did the exact same thing again, but this time using the Hog's turret to mow down these knuckleheads. And doing that, we were able to slowly move up through the canyon and just blast past all these remaining brutes that folded into the ground. Anyway, with the area now cleared, Dave jumped back into the Hog and drove towards the evac Pelican, as they had just gotten word that some mad lad of an ODST was about to destroy the Halo wheel. I wonder who that could be. After near enough escaping the destruction and about 14 near-death experiences on the Halo wheel, Dave the Marine returns to Earth, hoping to finally get some downtime. But as luck would have it, the Covenant found Earth and launched an invasion attempt. So Dave's retirement would have to be put on hold for now, as he and his new squad are tasked with clearing out the city streets. Upon arriving in the city, Dave is joined by a Spartan. Dave hadn't seen one of these since his time on Reach, so it was a shock to him that there were any still left. Before they could exchange names, the Covenant crashed the party. This first group was fairly easy to deal with, as I just threw grenades at them as soon as they got off the Phantom. Now, playing Halo 2 as a Marine again felt weird after playing all those Combat Evolved missions, and I'm not sure how to explain it other than rapidly swapping through the games feels off to me. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Anyway, after forcefully being sent to the afterlife 5 more times in this area, our little Marine was able to clear this little courtyard, and we could finally move through the city streets. However, just as we move across this highway and come to a crossroad, we get attacked from multiple directions. So we start off by hiding in this multi-story car park where we issue some parking tickets to a bunch of grunts and jackals.
Sir, you have 2 missed parking tickets?
But as we reached the roof, tragedy struck. Our Spartan was killed while he was distracting an Ultra Elite, and he went out in a blaze of glory. I'll never forget this Spartan's sacrifice, as I stole his wallet and ammo. But there was no time to mourn the loss of my Spartan best friend, as we still had to clear out some trogs in the streets below. And to make things even worse, a Wraith was camping in the road waiting for me, but after finding myself a rocket launcher, that Wraith didn't really put up much of a fight. And I thought that clearing the rest of these streets was going to be easy. But sadly, I thought wrong.
What? This is bullshit!
I had no idea where this golden bitch came from, but he sent me into cardiac arrest. Once my blood pressure had returned to a normal level, we introduced that sword elite to a rocket to the face, and we were able to mop up the rest of these pillocks from the streets, putting an end to the first mission on Halo 2. I mean, I don't think this is going to be that bad. Our next mission has us within an unfinished part of the city, where our boy Dave is tasked with clearing out the last remaining Covenant forces within this sector. And things started off in the best possible way, with an elite instantly pushing our Marines' position. And not only that, the Cubbies seem to have mastered the Obi-Wan tactic, as they have the high ground.
Hello there.
But with the help of some well-placed grenades, we were able to move up in no time at all. I'm so glad all these Halo 2 missions have you starting off with the CE weapons, otherwise we would have struggled a lot more than we already have. As we push up through the buildings, we lend a hand to some Marines clearing out some more Covenant, before stumbling across the love of my life. I just knew she couldn't stay away from me. Using the 66-ton beast, we were able to clean up the streets of these troublemakers before being forced to leave her behind, while Dave must enter yet another building. We didn't even make it to the second floor before being thrown to the ground like a used napkin.
Fuck!
But after dying in the same spot for 6 minutes, Dave was able to make it to the third floor, and we must now enter yet another building to take out the trash of these clogged up halls. Once the welcome party was dealt with, we were quickly introduced to a pair of hunters blocking the way forward. Being a simple marine, you knew this wasn't going to go well. However, I did notice that the hunters would not move closer to me, so what kind of person would I be if I didn't abuse that, and just spammed the hunters with a heavy machine gun that I found lying on the floor? With the hunters now dealt with, it didn't take long for the headaches to start, and by that I mean this room. With my ammo already limited to next to nothing, this floor wasn't the hardest part to get past. It was trying to get up these stairs is where the real problems began. With these troglodytes claiming the high ground, and at the center of them was an ultra elite, the troggest trog of them all. To give you an idea how bad this little staircase was, I was dying over and over for 10 minutes just trying to get up these stairs. I'm pretty sure my lone brain cell had even worked overtime to put up with this bullshit. But after giving this ultra elite a good old new combo to the face, we overlook more Covenant filling up the streets below. And just after cleaning those streets, it was Dave's duty to put a stop to it, even though I kept getting gunned down by this turret. However, many deaths later, it was mostly safe to drop down and join the Spartans, who I may or may not have been using as my own personal distraction while I hid in a corner taking pot shots at anyone who came close to my hiding spot. Just saying. But just when I thought it was safe to come out of my little hidey hole, this elite pulls a Harry Houdini and appears out of nowhere and forces me into firing my last rocket, resulting in us both flying through the air. Even though I managed to kill myself a lot during this mission, Dave was eventually able to clear out the streets from the Covenant forces, who later retreated to the second Halo wheel, where the ODST Sam chases them down. While Dave and his squad track down remaining Covenant forces left on Earth, they end up tracking them down to the Zanzibar power station. Now, first things first about this mission. There is a 1 in 10% chance you will not survive this opening on Legendary. Just take a look at this clip. There is a chance your Marine will die before getting out of the Pelican.
What the fuck is this?
I swear Dreary just wants to watch the world burn with this mod, as this was happening for over 10 minutes. The only way you're going to survive this is pure RNG and a ton of luck that you will live long enough to touch the floor, and if you're lucky to live that long, leg it to the back of the map just out of range of these spawn camping douchebags. I mean, that's the only way I found to survive this part. With camping at the back of the map sniping added to my list of war crimes, once the checkpoint happened, we could somewhat safely move up the beach knowing we didn't have to do the Pelican section again. Honestly, I think Dave had it much worse on this beach than Sam the Marine in the whole Marine series. Anyway, after regretting my life choices, we spent the next 14 minutes slowly moving up and clearing the beach. I don't want to talk about the number of deaths I already have racked up here alone, but once the last elite fell, a Pelican dropped off some more Marines and a Warthog. I'm sure they will last long. With the gate now open, me and the Marines slowly move up, taking out the turrets and wraiths that were waiting for us, clearing the way for the Hog to move up safely. But little did I know at the time that a pair of hunters were waiting for us just around this corner. Taking advantage of the high ground, those hunters didn't stand much of a chance against rockets and grenades, and it didn't take long for the rest of this area to be cleared of all numpties. All that was left was to secure the inside of the building, and I thought what better way to surprise the Covenant inside was to take this giant windmill to get inside, even though I fell off trying to jump across and chose to just take the door instead. Now, I was not prepared to see the room below filled with honor guards. I swear there must have been like 10 of them in this room, but with the help of my trusty rocket launcher, most of them were quickly dealt with before I got this elite's pointy thing thrusted inside of me. But after dying here 4 more times, I came up with the idea to park the Hog on the other side of the gate so that the turret can help me tackle these elites. And once the last honor guard got a rocket up the bum, we are now tasked with stopping the Covenant reinforcements from taking back the power plant. Honestly, I swear Dave can't catch a break. However, using the Warthog to run over some of these nerds and using whatever my brain can think of at the time, and with only 3 deaths, Dave was able to hold back the Covenant alone and survive long enough for the Pelican to return, hopefully bringing more Marines to secure this place. And with that, brings the end to the Halo 2 Spec Ops missions. And I think I'm okay with that. Halo 3 time. The first two missions for Halo 3 are actually the last of all the Spec Ops missions, but for the sake of this dumpster fire of a video and the story that I've come up with, I decided to place these missions here in the timeline. Don't worry, it will all make sense in the end. Maybe. Now, during the events of Halo 2, the Honor Guard was sent to deal with the heretics at the mining station, and after he was successful in dealing with them, he was then sent by the Prophets to deal with the remaining heretics at a nearby gas refinery. Because nothing says a job well done, then do it again. The beginning of this mission could not have been better, as somehow I missed this easy backsmack on this grunt, instantly alerting all these no-good heretics to our position. Well done me. Advancing through this place certainly had its issues, as I was forced to use cover and move up slowly. Not from the carbines on the bridge, but from the turrets pounding my location on the far side. Now, in the middle of these platforms, I thought it would be easier to take the upper levels, but that idea was quickly flushed down the drain pipe. Get it? Because I died in a pipe. Flushed down the drain pipe. Moving on. Once the decision was made to stop dying, our little honor guard eventually made it to the final platform, where the leader of this little group of traitors was hiding. All we had to do was fight our way up to him. Now, I was debating with myself whether or not to take the Banshee and deal with him that way, but that wouldn't have been a fair fight, and our honor guard isn't one to take the easy way to solve his problems. But little did I know that trying to get up this ramp would be the most challenging part so far, as the heretics make use of the Obi-Wan tactic, and have set up camp so I couldn't easily get up this ramp. After much trial and error, the leader accepted our offer to 1v1 on Rust, but nobody told him that he couldn't use Commando Pro. With this guy kicking my ass more times than I like to admit, it was time for a new strategy. And that was to just shoot him with a needler and then one-tapped him with a carbine. With the leader now dead, we take to the skies as we become the flying wildlife. And I'm so glad that my friendly Banshees knew that I was in this heretic one, otherwise we would have had a bit of a problem. Now, you would think that this dogfight section would be easy, and you would be wrong. In fact, this flying segment was the most painful and stress-fueled experience so far playing this mod, as this Banshee pretty much gets shredded apart faster than half-ply toilet paper. I was struggling. No matter what I tried to do here, my flying machine would get shredded apart. Even with the overshield I stole from the heretic leader, I was still witnessing our little elite fall out of the sky. But after over 20 minutes of regretting my life choices, all we had to do was destroy their Phantom before their last survivors could escape. And I wasted no time in forcing everything I had into that thing, and after a few minutes of non-stop fuel rod attacks, the Phantom exploded, giving the Honor Guard the victory that he truly deserved. Before the Honor Guard was sent to retrieve the copy of Keyes' porn hard drive during the events of Halo 2, he was sent to clear a nearby sector from the Flood and the humans who were battling it out, trying to get to the hard drive first. You guys knew I had to shovel that storyline in here somewhere, right? Anyway, with that shoehorned in, we start off the mission by hopping into the Spectre to reach our fellow Covenant on the other side of the canyon. And honestly, it felt good to drive the Spectre again. I honestly don't know why Bungie never brought it back in other Halo games. And just like in Halo 2, this thing absolutely shreds, as neither Flood nor human stood a chance against this thing. And before I knew it, we reached the other side of the canyon and opened up their base. And once inside, the Spectre makes rapid work of the Flood, and we quickly deal with any stragglers remaining with the sword. I forgot how good the sword can be against the Flood, as it even one-hits the tank forms.
Gotcha, bitch!
Anyway, with our allies saved, it was now time to clear out the rest of the area from the Flood in order for the shipmaster from Halo 2 to arrive. Even though he was next to useless in that game, but oh well. But before I could do the Prophet's work, we spotted some humans hiding out in the caves, and these vermins could not be allowed to live and stop the Grey Journey. So we ran over there and cut them down with our glowing stick, only to get taken out by one Marine and his grenade. How embarrassing. One reincarnation later, and once I got my revenge on these little wet wipes, we quickly go and lend a hand to this lonely zealot, only to receive a rocket to the face. Now, I'm not sure how I ended up dying in this area 6 more times, but let's not question things. Anyway, I decided to go back and get my Spectre that I had parked earlier, and this made cleaning out the Flood so much easier, as I wasn't getting a rocket to the face every few seconds, but I still somehow managed to get burnt to death. Just my luck. The new hole in my drywall, I made use of this rage and watched from a safe distance as this zealot dealt with the last few Flood, and with that the Phantom dropped off the shipmaster, and the Honor Guard was now tasked to go to the Sentinel Wall in Halo 2. We all know where the story goes from here. With Dave the Marine left to secure Zanzibar, we step back into the boots of Jimbo the ODST, where him and his team are stuck between a civil war between the elites and the brutes, but their mission remains the same: secure this old ghost town. But even though things aren't looking good, Jimbo managed to clear out this first room of bickering Covenant. It seems that these no-good turkey goblins had teamed up with the oversized monkeys, as the streets were filled with these troglodytes. And it didn't take long for the rest of Jimbo's squad to fall victim to their bloodlust. But even though Jimbo was now alone, he still had a job to do. Against all odds, we managed to put a large dent in the dodo population as we slowly made our way through these decaying buildings. Honestly, I'm not sure what the UNSC wants with this town, but there better be some treasure hidden or something. Anyway, moving slightly on, with the last of the brutes put down for good, it was now time to tackle the elite side of the map, and I was not looking forward to this, as they seem to have set up a heavy defense of this area protected by honor guards. And I'm not gonna lie, I almost filled my trousers with the good stuff when I saw this elite jump at me and ruin my day. What made things worse was these elites were refusing to come out and play with the poor Jimbo, instead making it impossible for me to walk through the door and put them all down. So I resorted to using the noob combo to take out these nerds one by one, and to the surprise of no one, this did not work.
God damn it!
But with me being a madman and trying the same thing over and over again until the lone brain cell caught up and realized I need to try something new, instead of grinding my balls into a fine paste. But after throwing my helpless body at these elites for over 10 minutes trying different ways of attack, eventually we were able to make a dent against these cock blockers. And the last of the honor guards got a good taste of the good old noob combo to the face. Jimbo had managed to secure this ghost town alone. Why did he have to do that? No one really knows. After that easy victory in Ghost Town, Jimbo returns to Rat's Nest base, where they are expecting a Covenant attack. When we land, we are told to gear up at the armory, where we are greeted by an old friend. It seems that the honor guard that we played as back in Halo 2 and the first two missions of Halo 3 has joined forces with the Arbiter and his elites and agreed to fight alongside the humans in the final days of the war. Anyway, with 2 types of battle rifle in my back pocket, we head back to the rest of the squad, where the Covenant has already made their way into the base. How they got past all those Marines I passed on the way in is beyond me. Anyway, with the initial wave dealt with, we join up with the Honor Guard and move towards the Pelican drop-off point. Now, it was around this point that the deaths started to roll in, as the lack of cover here was slightly troubling. But the Honor Guard cared not for cover, as he was on a killing spree, near enough clearing the path forward. Truly, he is the real MVP of this game. As we moved in to clear the blue side of the base, trying to get up this slight incline was more difficult than it needed to be, as there was no cover between me and these brutes. So I mainly just hung back with a carbine taking shots at them when I could. And that seemed to work, as me and the Honor Guard were able to push up and move to the interior of blue side, to deal with these clowns camping inside. I won't go into detail about how many times I died just trying to get through this doorway, but let's just say it was a lot. And for some reason the Honor Guard just stood there not helping at all. What a dick. I take back my previous comment. But after we were eventually able to get through this door, and with blue side now secured, we are then tasked with heading back to red side as the Covenant have just captured the armory that I had just come from. With no time to waste, Jimbo and a small group of surviving Marines begin to backtrack towards the armory, where I am instantly smacked in the face by this hammer that put the fear of God in me.
Oh God.
Now I thought that hammer brute was the worst thing I had to deal with. Oh boy was I wrong, as imagine the look on my buttery face when I saw a pair of hunters follow behind him. I knew this wasn't going to be easy, and sometimes I hate being right. Now for almost 20 minutes I was struggling to take this slight incline from these chimps, but it wasn't until the Honor Guard threw this Hail Mary of a grenade that took down the hunter that we were able to make some progress. But the fight for Rat Nest was far from over, as we still had to clear out the armory, and I would love to say that this was easy to clear out, but I'd be lying to you, as I kept getting my ass kicked in this room alone.
What the fuck?
Turns out having the high ground doesn't always result in an easy win. I guess Obi-Wan lied to me. But for each life got me closer and closer to the armory, and the annoying thing was, if I did die after clearing out this room before, I would be sent right back outside them 2 rooms, and I would have to do it all over again. Brilliant. But after a lot of trial and error, Jimbo was able to clear out the armory, and we could finally extract from the base, as it was around this time that Sam the ODST armed the bomb in our Halo 3 Marine run, and we needed to evacuate the base. Hey, I gotta time this to the mainline story somehow. With Jimbo's side of the story now complete, we step back into the boots of the sex machine, Dave, as we enter a mission with the name that I am so joyful about. We joined Dave right where we left him, at the Zanzibar power station, as we had tasked with repelling the Covenant counterattack on the beach. This mission couldn't have started better, as we were able to clear out the first bunch of Covenant with no real issues or deaths. I just wish that the rest of the mission went this well. Because when we got to the beach, we find that the ODSTs had already been overrun, and we spot 3 Phantoms dropping off the first wave of Trogs. I mean, yes, we did get a Pelican dropping off more Marines, but let's be honest, we all know what's about to happen here, as within the first minute of the fight, Dave was sent back to the last checkpoint. This opening wave felt like I was in the opening of Saving Private Ryan, except with space aliens. The Marines got completely slaughtered here to the point it looked like bullying, and this was just wave 1. As the next wave begins, we had overgrown monkeys coming at us from both sides, and before I knew it, Dave was left alone and had to hold back the beach by himself. It was at this point that it no longer felt like I was dying in the game anymore, but I was being haunted by the same checkpoint. This holdout was brutal. I honestly think it was more difficult than the Pelican section back in Halo 2. And that is saying something. I swear Dreary wants to watch the world burn with a difficulty curve in his mods, but we had come too far now just to be stopped by a bunch of gorillas in their pajamas. So I did what any other person would do, and that was to hide behind this wall, taking out the Covenant one at a time, while playing peekaboo with them. If you want to know how long it took me to clear out these 3 waves on the beach, I was here for over an hour, just hiding behind this rock killing Muppets, and the fact I kept dying only added to the time I spent here. But after an hour of slowly thinning out these Burke's numbers, and once the Wraiths were taken out, we then had to return to clear out the power station. Now this part wasn't too bad to deal with, as I mainly took advantage of some spots I used in Halo 3 multiplayer to get a jump on these nerds. And once my grubby little hands got a ghost, it took Dave less than 5 minutes to clear out the rest of the brutes from the area. And with that, we quickly used the ghost to blast past more brutes making their way to the powerhouse, and reach the beach for extraction, as we realised it was time to abandon this place for good. And I couldn't agree more. During the final days of the war, humanity and the elites joined forces to launch an attack on the Ark. During that time, a Halo wheel was discovered to be in construction, and the last remaining Covenant attempt to rebuild their armies on this ring. Dave and his squad of Marines are sent to crush the last of the Covenant forces, and as soon as we arrive, we're instantly attacked by these numpties. But nothing says UNSC justice like a turret to the face. Once this Captain Key's landing site was secured, Dave and the Marines are tasked with assaulting the last Covenant base up ahead. The end of the war was now within groping distance. Just as we begin to make our way towards the base, this ballsy chopper attempts to splat me in the face, but misses and flies off the cliff.
Bye, have a great time!
Anyway, me and the Marines manage to clear out this little outpost and take out the Wraiths guarding the entrance to the base. As we make our way inside, we come face to face with brute honor guards. Now these dipsticks weren't hard to deal with, as they must have been under strict orders not to leave the building, as they didn't even follow me out. Give me the perfect opportunity to camp around this corner and deal with them. With this part of the base now cleared, we joined up with some ODSTs in the next valley to mop up the last little bits of dust that refused to go away. But by taking advantage of a ghost and a nearby Gauss hog, Dave and the ODSTs were able to clear out the last bunch of brutes within no time, and of course with the helping hand from none other than the Honor Guard. Once all the remaining trash was taken care of, Dave could then make his way to the Pelican extract, as they had just gotten word that the Arbiter, the Chief, and Sam were on their way to the ring to destroy it. Finally, the war was coming to an end. But just as Dave was about to board the Pelican, the Flood begins to land on the giant hula hoop as they try to rebuild themselves on this ring. With nowhere to go, Dave's only choice is to run back to the next canyon and hope that the Pelican can extract him and the Honor Guard in time. But of course the Flood were not going to make this an easy adventure. Now, I honestly forgot how difficult it was to fight the Flood as a Marine, and for some reason I just kept thinking that running and gunning would work. But that just ended up with my balls being buried in the snow. But after dying here about 7 more times, we were eventually able to make it back to the Valley Connector, and back into the hog that I'd parked earlier. And once I'd put down my fellow Marines, we used that hog to zoom past the Flood, pick up the Honor Guard, and drive towards the Pelican extract. And with that, the Pelican flies back to the elite ship, and heads back for Earth. The war was finally over, as the Arbiter, Sam, and the Chief end up destroying the Halo Wheel, putting an end to the war once and for all. Dave and Jimbo could finally return to their families after so long at war. Playing these Marine Spec Ops missions was a lot of fun, as they were a really great addition to these Marine mods. I wanted to do something with these missions for a while now, and I thought with the Marine series being finished, this was the perfect time to shovel in these side character stories in this mess of a timeline that I had created. I highly recommend checking out these bonus missions, as Dreary really did an amazing job on these, and I think creating these missions led him to create the Halo Reach Infantry mod. If you get the chance, go and play these, as they are really worth your time. I'd also like to take a moment to say go and follow and support Dreary's YouTube channel, as he is currently developing his own game, and from the looks of it and what he has shared with me personally, he is really putting a lot of work into this, and I personally cannot wait for this game. To me, it looks and feels like those old school shooters like Doom and Quake, and I for one am here for it. The game is currently in development and has no title currently, but will feature character customization and multiplayer as well as a campaign. The footage you are seeing are from what he sent me personally and from his showcase video. I'll leave a link in the description to the video and his channel, so please go show some love and support to Dreary while he makes this. As without Dreary, this channel and the Marine videos wouldn't have happened, and I cannot thank him enough for making these mods. So I thought I'd throw this in here as my way of thanking him and bringing light to his project, and I hope he continues to do amazing work. Now before we end this video, I'd just like to give a quick shout out to our channel members for their continued support. If you'd like to become a member, you can click that join button on my channel page. It's entirely up to you if you do or not, it's completely optional. Now with these side stories for Dave and Jimbo complete, I'm not sure where their stories will go next.